Club President for your Anaheim Ducks, Mr. Aaron Teets, everybody.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, JoJo, and thanks for everybody for coming back to it after the late light last night. It's great. On our second annual Ducks migration. That's fantastic. It's awesome to get this group together. Like this right here, I consider it, I know that in talking to all of our group here, this is the core, this is the backbone of our fan base, and we can't thank you enough for everything that you do and for what you mean to this franchise. So give yourselves a huge hand for sticking in there. We love this event. I love the weather this year compared to last year. I was freezing cold last year, but this is perfect. Actually, I'm a little warm. I'll take this jacket off in a moment. But yeah, thanks. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate that. But you know, really, the unwavering support from all of you is something that means everything to us, and I hope that you're enjoying so far everything that we've had in store for you on the 30th anniversary season. We've had a lot of great items, and in our final 8 home games, and I can't believe we're saying that already, but in the final 8 home games, we got a lot more planned for you. I think 7 of the 8 have theme nights, including our last Legacy Night on April 5th, which we're really looking forward to. So that will be terrific. And kind of pivoting to where we're looking towards next year, I know that we'd like to kind of see what's on tap for us. You can always count on our group getting together and seeing what we can do as far as putting together enhanced benefits. So as you've probably read at this point already, we've got increased discounts for you at the concession stand, so we're going to continue to keep that trend going. Also, those are applying to our team store. I think we're getting exclusive benefits on a happy hour at the Go Mango Bar just for this group. And probably something that would really help everybody here. We're going to get a streamlined entry into Honda Center for next year. Yeah. So a lot has been going on. I can tell you, and it's worth saying, the number of meetings that I participate in and that are happening even without me there, all of them are pressing towards the guest experience. It's something that means everything to us. Seeing what the OC vibe and the future state is going to be is something that is beyond exciting for us. I know it's a little bit rough when the construction right now, and we appreciate the patience as we're getting in and out of Honda Center, but the end result is going to be something that is absolutely great. I spoke to, and I appreciate the clap right there, yeah, right there. I see you, yeah. Ownership, Henry and Susan Samueli, just yesterday approved another $100+ million to be put in Honda Center upgrades. So those are there's going to be a lot of chat about that. If you consider that when this building was built, it cost $123 million to build, I believe is the number. We'll put that in probably the next 3 years. Just trying to, once again, continuing to push on those guest experience and those upgrades. So we appreciate your patience as we continue. You know, it's sort of the pardon our dust, but the future state looks absolutely terrific. And as we kind of pivot from the business side of things, certainly the patience in this rebuild couldn't be done without you guys. I hear all the time from our fans, but also I hear from our players just how important that support is and how it drives them. So the crowds have been terrific when we come in here. And now what we're seeing is several outlets recognizing what you already know, that the future is outstanding and bright for the youth that's coming up for this franchise. I give Pat Verbeek and a lot of his staff all the credit in the world for continuing to press on that and continuing to make sure that the funnel is full of top talent that's coming through. I think you saw the other day where Hockey News anointed Ducks #1 in the Future Watch issue. That's top 21 prospects in the NHL. So what you've already seen, you know, you're talking about Leo and McTavish and Mintyukov and Zellweger and Luno, and now someone that is tearing up the NCAA and leading the NCAA in goals, Cutter Gauthier. And I hope we get a chance to see him. I think we will probably get a glimpse of him this year, but we'll press Pat Verbeek on that when he comes up here. And then you just go even a couple years older than that into your 23 with Zegras and Dostal. So the key is getting these guys all healthy at the same time. Let's get them on the ice at the same time. But we're real excited to see what that future looks like. So it's great. They're here. They're standouts. We're not talking about junior prospects that you're going to see in 3 years. You have seen these guys play, and they're amazing, and we're going to get them on the same ice, and we're going to do some amazing things here. And I can't wait for this group to celebrate with us as that gets going on. So thank you very much for coming here. The Ducks migration. I will see you guys all tomorrow. And for now, I think I'm turning it over. Am I turning it to you? Oh, no, I'm giving it back to JoJo. God,
Yeah.
You're on the job.
Oh, of course.
Whatever. So
Absolutely.
So thank you all. Have a terrific rest of the weekend, and we will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Aaron, wait, hold on, Aaron. Hold on. Yeah.
I'm down on my
I know.
job.
I'm usually the one giving away free stuff, but I think Aaron has another set of lower level tickets that we want to give away. Diamond Plaza?
Yeah, I've been given 2 Diamond Plaza seats. And I have a ticket here that is 695-985.
The anticipation was real on that one.
Did you like that?
Who's had this ticket?
I thought you would.
These are for Diamond Plaza seats.
Oh, look at this guy!
Oh, my man.
All right.
What's your name, bud?
Reed.
Yeah, Reed actually got his first ride on the Zamboni just the other night. And now he just won some Plaza tickets. Go and grab them from Aaron. All right. All right, Reed. We better not see those on StubHub, all right? Make sure you enjoy those seats, okay? There it is.
Hey, he could do a lot with those from StubHub.
Yes, he can. Hey, another round of applause for Aaron Tietz, your club president, folks. Let's go ahead and keep that round of applause going. You'll obviously recognize him on TV. That's right. Television analyst for your Anaheim Ducks. Let's bring up Brian Hayward.
Morning, everybody. Great to see everyone. I've seen a number of the Orange Alliance members come up to the broadcast booth and visit with Johnny and I this year, so it's great to look out and see a lot of friendly faces out there. We like to call this our Hot Stove Lounge, a little bit of a history lesson. Back in the 1940s, the very first radio broadcasts and television broadcasts of the National Hockey League, the pregame show was called From the Hot Stove Lounge. The Hot Stove Lounge was actually a room at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. They didn't have any heating in it, so they had a pot-bellied stove in the corner to keep it warm. We don't need that today in our Hot Stove Lounge, obviously. And what they would do is they would invite in journalists, and then they would ask dignitaries from around the NHL, general managers, commissioner of the league to come in, and they would ask questions of that individual, and it would be broadcast live all over North America. So this is our version of the Hot Stove Lounge. We have a number of questions that we will be asking General Manager Pat Verbeek today. There are 3 sources of those questions. Number 1, they come from our PR department. You'll recognize those questions. They're the softball questions. They come from the PR guys. Some come from yours truly, and some come from the members of the Orange Alliance. But if you see Pat and he, after I ask him a question, if he grimaces at me or if he looks at me in a threatening fashion, know that afterwards I'm going to say that that question came from the Orange Alliance. Not fair, I know, but this is the power of holding onto the microphone right now. Right now, I would like to invite our General Manager, Pat Verbeek, up to the stage, and we will get started.
My mic on?
Thank you, Pat. Is that on?
I don't know. It's on? Okay.
Yep, we are good to go.
You sound louder than I do. Why?
I don't know. It's a gift. It was set up that way. First off, everybody, obviously, the trade deadline is over. And a lot of people Would like a little bit of a look behind the curtain on the Adam Henrik trade with the Edmonton Oilers, the acquisition of a first-round pick. Can you kind of give us some insights as to that process? How did it unfold? Did they contact you? Did you contact them? What happened?
Well, through the whole process, I think, when I first got hired here, I think every general manager, they all check in with one another, looking to see what each other's looking to do. And I, at the time, had a lot of free agents with Hampus and Josh and Raquel and the same thing happened this year. We all check around, but they ended up calling me and Adam Henrik and Sam Carrick were having great years. They were having based on where they were in the lineup, they were having really good years. So I got a lot of interest on those players. Probably 5 or 6 teams, believe it or not, were wanting to acquire both those players, and so it became just a process of I had a couple teams check in with me every day, just to see what I was doing. I said, well, I talked to you yesterday. Things haven't changed, So anyway, well, we just want to make sure we're in the mix. Yeah. I hear you. I wrote it down. Anyway, so but as you get closer to the deadline, the urgency and that seems to pick up. And then, based on certain things in the market, like I looked at Monahan, I looked at Lindholm when he got traded. Adam was probably the third centerman on the market, what I would consider the next centerman, and so those markets went for first round, and Winnipeg got a first and a conditional third based on if they win the Stanley Cup. So when I go into that sort of thing, I set a price, and I really don't deviate from it, and I try to hold the line for as long as I can. And anyway, I was able to get what I was looking for, and it just I just pull it. It just adds another a chance to get a really good player. And so my goal when I first got hired here is to build this organization as deep as we can, and I think when we get through this draft, we're going to be very, very deep. Next year, we've got probably 6 or 7 20-year-olds coming to San Diego that I'm very excited about. They're gonna learn what the pro game's all about, and they're gonna hone their crafts. And then I'm excited about some of the players that are going to be here probably in 2 or 3 years and really contributing on an impactful way. And so it just keeps I guess for me it just keeps the pump primed for us to keep pushing forward to where we're going to have a team that's going to be 4 lines deep, that are going to be competitive and skilled type of team.
And 7 picks now in the upcoming draft in the first 3 rounds, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, correct?
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to really...
And it's very similar like that next year too, 2025.
Yeah. So you set the foundation in the next couple of years.
Yes.
Kind of a question that I had was current trade rules and, the deadline rules. My understanding is, and this happened before we had a hard salary cap, that teams like the wealthier teams, if you will, when there was no cap, like the Red Wings, would every year at the trade deadline, they would just outspend everyone and add a bunch of players to the roster to load up. Can't really do that now, except some teams seem to be able to do that at the deadline. And I'm just wondering how you feel about the rules as they currently sit with the trade deadline. And anyway, what do you think about it?
Well, I think the rules, we're all looking to try and think outside the box. We're all competitive, and we're all looking for that competitive advantage. And so, teams have figured out how to work the system. So it's,
Put players on long-term IR.
Yep.
Takes them off the cap.
Yep.
Then they go out and spend the money and add those players at the deadline.
Exactly.
And then magically, they are all healthy once the playoffs begin.
That is correct. Yeah, and no, so if you're able to, I want us to be in a position like that about 4 years from now, right? So, but I think, there's probably something that's probably going to, change. It's probably an easy fix. So, I was talking to you about this before, in the sense, okay, when you get to, if the cap is 83.5, next year it's going to be 87.5, so it's going to go up $4 million. So, but what we, probably, it's going to probably gain more momentum. And so when you do acquire those players that, that add up to 95 million or something of that, amount, you're only going to be allowed to address whatever the cap is, 83.5 or 87.5 million dollars. I see that's coming, so to where, yeah, you're going to be able to have the depth, that you want for a playoff run, but you're not going to be able to put more than the 83.5 or the 87.5 on the ice.
Designate your roster at
correct.
that point.
Correct.
This is how many players and certain guys have to be left off the roster.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the asset you acquired in that first-round pick with the Henrik deal, but there were a couple of other players that most of our folks are unfamiliar with, and maybe you can give us a little bit of background on Jan Mysak, Ben Myers, and William Lagesson, those acquisitions. So
all those guys I've watched, okay? So it's like Mysak, I watched him during his draft year, so I got a kid that, great kid, works hard, he lives in the gym, lives in the rink, it's hard to, I want a lot of those guys. I want guys really dedicated to their craft that want to get better. So I'm excited to get him. I think he's a hardworking kid. His game is more built off of work ethic and gets things accomplished through work ethic than, say, more skill. He has sense, but his game is built off of what I call energy and work ethic. So I like those players, and so he's got a chance probably. If I was being conservative, he's got a chance to be a fourth line player. Up, probably the upper scale with, we could develop him into a third line player. Who's that? Oh, Ben Myers. Ben Myers. When I was working with Detroit, we were actually trying to get him to sign with us in Detroit as a centerman. He had a really good college. His last year in college, played really well. Skilled, smart, hardworking player that that has good skating ability, and that's one of the things I'm looking to do with our bottom six is improve our speed. We need more foot speed on in the bottom six, and so he was a guy that became available, and I just thought when you look at draft picks, they're valuable, but so I gave up a 5th round draft pick for him. So when we start to analyze this stuff, a 5th round, when you really look at this year's draft pick as a 5th round, the best time it's going to take him 5 years to be able to have a chance to be in the NHL. That's how I look at it. And so I had a player for that we have lots of picks, that I could get a player that could really help us now. And so that's how I viewed, acquiring Ben. Lagesson is basically a depth play in the sense that it gives us 8 defensemen at the NHL level, and I don't want to, we're getting really thin in San Diego because of injuries, and I didn't want to have to, if we got a couple injuries up top here with Anaheim, that I'd have to really go down into San Diego and start pulling guys out of there. So I didn't think it was fair. For me, it was an easy acquisition. It's free, with the exception of the waiver wire cost. But other than that, it's free and it's a chance. And I know I've watched this player since he was drafted, so I know this player. He's a competitive guy, strictly a stay-at-home defensive defenseman. But what I like is to compete, and he has good size, and he's not easy to play against. And so I'm looking for those types of players to insert. We'll be able to have a nice 20-game look at them, and then hopefully we can, if we like it, we'll keep them in the organization.
Oftentimes teams talk about developing a winning culture. It's a big factor of why they are successful. And do you sense that we're starting to build that kind of mindset in the locker room? And if not, how do you and the coaching staff really
No,
keep that
I
evolving?
think we've taken big jumps there. That was part of the reason I hired Greg Cronin. He and I think very similarly when it comes to accountability, when it comes to compete, and it comes to work ethic. And so I think probably the main component of all of that, and I can give you my perspective, but when it comes to the coaching staff, part of culture is accountability. So if you're letting players get away with certain things on the ice, other players see that, and it's not good. It just creates dissent within. And so when everybody's held to the same standard, it becomes a staple of everybody to show in that when they come to the rink, they have to perform at this level. And if they don't get to play, or they get sat out, or their ice time decreases. So it becomes a reason why everybody works hard, they compete hard, because every player that's here, they all want to play. They're all competitive, and they want to play and they want to contribute. So it's just holding them accountable to that standard, that they understand that now there's a structure in place and they have to adhere by it. For me, culture really starts, believe it or not, culture starts with training, okay? So how hard do you work off ice? Because when you're a young player, and I think I said this last year, when you're a young player, you may have all the skill and all the talent in the world, but when you go, like when you watch us play against a team like Dallas last night, that's a very, very mature team, not only in age, but in maturity as far as strength. And so, I've already sat down with our group and talked about, especially with our younger players, and how they have to get to this level of strength, because the older guys that are strong and mature, they're not going to let you play your skill game. They've got the smarts, they've got the experience to be able to take things away from you on the ice, and if you don't have the strength to be able to hold them off or push through them, they're not going to let you play the way you want to play. And so it becomes, for me, culture starts with that. And when I push hard with their strength and conditioning, they now understand that there's a work ethic, there's a sacrifice, there's a commitment, dedication to the Ducks organization, and that's, for me, is where it all starts. And then as the process goes along, learning how to play hurt, learning how to fight through injuries, learning one-goal games. We've lost, this year 23 games now by one goal. Like, I've played on a team like this, so I have, I've gone through it, and it's frustrating when you're a younger player. But I'm telling you guys, like, when I speak to the players, I go, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have to sacrifice, and you're going to have to commit to this. And those games that we lost are now going to turn into wins. And so it's a process, through culture. It doesn't happen overnight. And frankly, for this group getting Greg Cronin, it's been culture shock. So they've been drinking water through a fire hose. And so that's been very difficult for them.
Yeah.
And so next year, they're now going to understand the accountability part. They're going to now understand, the strength and the training part that's expected of them. And so for me, it's going to be an easier transition there next year, that now we can look to improve on things that we have weaknesses in. Now we can try and make those weaknesses stronger, and now we grow as players and as a team on the ice.
We've focused a lot on talking about the young talent and bringing them into the league. Is there veteran talent that you will look to add over the course of the summer? I mean, we can see the benefit of what a guy like Gudis or Killorn bring to this roster, and for these young kids to learn. Is there an intent at this point to add more in that regard?
Yes. I'd probably, there's two things that I'm looking at doing next summer. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to pull them off, but I'd like to probably find another top six right winger. We have so many left shots on the team that it's always nice, you need a variety, and we don't have enough right-hand shots in our lineup, and so I'd like to do that. And then probably next year is probably, and like I said before, I want to improve our bottom six. You know, when you start looking at production of the best teams in the league and where they're getting all that production from, you know, you can probably go across the league and everybody's top six production. You know, there's some that, you know, you look like the Avalanche, like they've got elite production from their top six. And so, but then there's a grouping down low. Like our top six guys are competing with, you know, with that, you know, that next sector underneath. Where we're failing is our bottom six production, whether it's our third line, whether it's our fourth line, we're not getting enough production from that group to be able to help the top group when, you know, they're having an off night. And so when you start to look at those 1-goal games that we keep losing, that's the difference for me. That's how we're going to turn this thing to our favor.
A couple of questions, player specific. Olen Zellweger played his 8th game of the season last night. Is he here for the rest of the year?
Yeah, he's going to be here for the rest of the season, yeah.
Leo Carlson, your thoughts on Leo? And it's unfortunate now that he's injured. When do you expect him back?
He should be back. We're looking at him playing in Minnesota. If everything goes good, so he'll be playing in Minnesota. There's a couple more games. He's going through the process right now. Yeah, he suffered a concussion, so we're getting through all of that. And I think when we play in Minnesota, what's that, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. He should be back for Thursday's game.
How about Trevor Zegras? What do you see Z as when he gets back into the lineup? Is he going to be in the center position? Is he going to be on the wing?
I think all of us feel that with McTavish and unless, with Leo and McTavish being there, probably we see them as their centermen, and you know, Trevor's probably going to play the wing when he comes back.
Why do the Ducks have a better road record than a home record this season? It's an Orange Alliance question.
I don't know, actually. You know, I don't know. We've found certain ways to shoot ourselves in the foot at home, and I'm not sure it's because, you know, it's funny when you play it. You know, I can go back and, you know, you try and play a different game at home. You know, you have the energy, you know, from the fans, you know, spilling through to you. I mean, players feel that. Like, you guys have to understand that players feel your energy too, and it helps them. And then sometimes it becomes, I hate to say it, becomes a detriment because they start doing stupid things they shouldn't be doing, you know.
Try to do too much.
Too much, you know. Try to, you know, they turn pucks over in you know, inside the blue line at either end. And those are bad spots, you know. 5 feet inside each blue line are bad turnover spots. So that's part of, you know, some of the things we've been struggling with the group right now is, you know, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot, you know. And so, and we, you know, when you play on the road, you know, it's like you're dealing with the home crowd, but you play a more safe and simpler game, and you're not trying to do too much.
This is a management question. I'm looking at the RFAs that you have, restricted free agents, that will require new contracts for next year. Lundestrom, Jones, Leeson, Grew, Lindstrom, Lacombe, Vakanainen currently on the roster. The question is, what are the biggest challenges you have in evaluating these players and getting those that you want to keep re-signed?
Well, trying to keep is always, I told you this, it's always about money, people. So, not always, but it's well, I think with those players, like I've got, you know, we've got 20 games to kind of really review them. You know, we speak to their agents and you know, we'll figure out, you know, the ones that we want to move forward and ones we don't want to move forward. And so, whether we, you know, you have to qualify them, you know, you have to put qualifying offers in. So some of them get 5% raises, some get 10% raises. So it depends on your stature. So so we got to go through that process and figure it out. And there's lots of time for that. So I'll meet, we'll go through the season. I'll watch closely, and then as we get with our pro scouting staff, we'll make decisions, and with our coaching staff as well, we'll make those decisions on what we should do.
Do you plan on using both of our first-round picks this year, or is there a potential to utilize them in a deal?
There's always the potential to use them in a deal. Like I keep an open mind when it comes to opportunities that I think can help our group, because I think our group now is like we're going to have 3 good drafts under us. We've got. You're starting to see our young kids they're taking steps. You can start to really see what it's going to look like. And now, like, I want those guys to take a step. And as there's an opportunity, like I don't want to be seller anymore. You know what I'm saying? I want this group. We can kind of see where the core is. And now I want them to start taking a step and building towards being in a playoff race for next season.
So the foundation in your mind is set.
Yeah.
And now it's adding and augmenting it, and
exactly.
the natural.
And being, it's like I keep watering those prospects. Can put a little fertilizer on them, get them to get here faster, but I can't. So it's patience is required as well, because they're all going to develop at different times.
One of those prospects is Cutter Gauthier. I think everyone's excited to see him at the end of his college season this year. By the way, Cutter's got 31 goals in 33 games. He's a shooter. He does not look to pass or overpass, and that will be a welcome addition to the lineup. Those 31 goals, by the way, if you look at some of the college players that have now turned into proven goal scorers, like a Cole Coffield, for instance, he never had 31 goals, and Cutter's still playing. So he's building on that, and
he's really like, he's young. He's only 19, so that's the other thing people forget. He's only 19, and he's a big kid. He's got a wicked shot, and what's really underrated about him is his playmaking ability. So I'm so excited. Like he doesn't even know how good he really can be yet, because he's 6'3", and there's an ability for me, what I see in him, and it's going to be up to our coaches and myself to develop him into where I think he can be a dominant power forward with a skill component.
A couple of other college players that we don't often hear a lot about, but are having good seasons. Sam Colangelo is at Western Michigan, I believe.
Yep.
And is there an intent to turn him?
Yeah. We'll see. Like, he's on a pretty good team right now. So they're I don't know if they're ranked 11th in the country, but they got a pretty good team. I went and watched him play, and so he scored last night. He had a goal and assist last night. Scored the game winner in his game last night. So he's I think he's got 22 or 23 goals too. Like, him and Cutter were pretty close there for a while, and then Cutter just kind of took off, But he's an exciting player as well, and he's really transformed his game, because he's 6'2", he's become a more physical player. He could always skate and shoot, but he's really worked at the details of his game, which has made me, that's just why you keep watching players, because he's really transformed his game, and it's a pleasant surprise. And so I'm kind of excited to get this kid signed and get him into playing.
Ian Moore is at Harvard, and when I was a college player, that was my rival, so I don't have any use for those guys. But Ian Moore, what can you tell me about Ian Moore?
So we're not quite sure yet.
Stay-at-home defenseman, correct?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say he's kind of got a little bit of a two-way game, but they ask him not to do that at Harvard, so they kind of like him to stay. But there's the ability to be able to grow that part of his game. I would say he has good hockey sense. I would, if I were to critique his game, he's a good first pass defenseman. So those are really coveted. He's 6'4". He's a right hand defenseman. So those are even more coveted. So I think, we've got, like I said, we've got a lot of lefties, in this organization, and righties are, needed. So I'm not sure at this point. He has a decision to make if he wants to come out this year. He has one more year of eligibility, senior year. I'm not sure what he's going to do, what he's going to decide.
Are there players in San Diego right now that you see having a real good shot with the team next year? And if so, who are they?
I'm not sure if they're quite ready to crack it, but we've had really nice growth. Matt McIlvain's done a really nice job with our young players. You know, I can look at you guys saw Regenda, like he's taken a step. He might have an opportunity. Nestorenko's he's actually really transformed his game nicely into more of a pro, what I call an NHL game versus, the college game where he's too fancy and trying to do too many skilled moves when he doesn't need to do these things. He's simplified his game, and he's really improved in his his tenacity and physical game, which is, if he's going to play in the NHL, he's going to have to provide that. And if he does provide it, it's going to be a component that we're going to need and that I love. And so Coffield's had a really good season. He's really come a long way. Gaucher's probably a couple years away. We got, some more work, he's got more work to do. But he's going to be, I think, a nice player. He kind of adds that grit and that nastiness and not easy to play against component with size, which I like as well.
Question for me, and this is something that we didn't have in the Ducks organization before you arrived, but professional skating coaches.
Yeah.
You've got a number on your roster. Can you talk about the influence that a professional skating coach has on your prospects?
Well, there's it's constant. I mean, even the kids we've drafted we've hired a couple. Well, we have we have at least 2 skating instructors that work with our guys, sometimes 3, and they're all from the same group, so they all employ the same tactics, the same methods of teaching, and so, we have one that Mackenzie Braid comes in and works with our San Diego guys. He even works with our guys here in Anaheim. And then when we're on the road or that sort of thing, and there isn't enough time to really do that, he goes on the road with our prospects and works with them during the season. And so, but a bulk of this work gets done in the summertime. This is where the major improvements get made, and so a lot of time is spent with our players in the off season working on their skating.
I always think. I hear stories from other teams around the league, and Braden Point, who's turned into a star player in Tampa, credits a lot of his growth and development to skating.
I can kind of speak to him because he had actually, through biomechanics, we were able to identify, when I was in Tampa, we were able to identify something that wasn't like his ankle. He had no flexion in his ankles, and so once we saw that, we were able to break it down. We were able to get more flexion, and he became an elite. He was a decent skater, but he became an elite skater after that. And so, but to the kid's credit, he was dialed in. He worked at it every single day, and turned himself into that sort of player. And so, there's stuff that we're doing. Like we got like motion capture, filming. So now we can really identify where players are weak, not only in their stride, but actually, if it's in their hips, in their pelvic, their abdomen's not strong enough. There's all kinds of things that we can actually identify through technology now that help us train these guys. It's come a long way. Like it's based on where I started to where we are now. It's like, holy cow. Like it's really, we can really dial in on these athletes now and really fine tune them.
One of the questions that came from the audience was about expansion. So we're at 32 teams now. We've heard about Salt Lake. We've heard about Houston. We've heard about Quebec City. Where do you sit on the NHL potentially adding another expansion team?
Well, I think I'll put my owner's hat on. I'm sure the owners would be for it, right? Because the expansion piece. But from my perspective, there's not enough hockey players, not enough good hockey players. And so the league will become more watered down, in my opinion.
So you're not in favor of
I'm
that?
not really in favor of it, no.
Okay, I'll pass that up the flagpole.
Yeah, tell Gary that, will you?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Currently, major junior players in Canada, OHL, Quebec League, Western Hockey League, are not allowed to play NCAA hockey. But with the current openness to a free market in college sports, the NIL deals that everyone is signing, there's rumblings that the NCAA hockey schools might start to allow major junior A players to transfer into college. Do you think that is something that would disrupt what is going on currently in the relationship that the league has with all the Canadian junior leagues?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to allow some players more opportunity to keep playing and to, I mean, the Canadian kids now, they have Canadian university scholarships that they can get, so they can choose to do that, or sometimes the kids just need a couple more years of track, to improve their game, and so maybe this is a way for them to do that, and get continue with their education. I don't see anything being impacted by. I think what the NCAA hit, the rules they hid behind. They were competitors with the CHL, and they were hiding behind the professional. The junior players are paid. Well, you can't say that anymore, right? With the NCAA now, they can't say that, and so now it becomes an avenue now to where these players can kind of keep continuing to play. If it's going to probably hurt someone, it might hurt like a league like the BCHL. It might even hurt a little bit the USHL to a point, in the sense that now these OHL players that that didn't go there, now they got an opportunity now to slide in there to take some of the jobs that might have been open are not open now.
Right. People ask if there's something that you would like to see that would improve overall the NHL. For me, this is my opinion only. I'd like to experiment with going back to one referee rather than two, just to see if there are fewer of the ticky-tack penalties called, because it seems like there's sometimes a competition between the two officials on the ice to make more calls. I'm not going to put you on the spot about that.
Thank you. I don't want to get fined.
Yeah. But is there anything that when you look at the National Hockey League as a whole, is there any change of any type that you would like to see happen that you think would make the whole experience for fans and players, managers better?
Some of the things we've talked about in overtime, and I'm not sure it's quite there yet, is when it becomes a real puck possession. When it first came out, this is where coaches can really mess things up. And so 3-on-3. So I remember when it first came out, like it was exciting. I mean, there was opportunity. Now everyone just rags the puck. They just hang on to it, and it's boring as hell until, so we've kind of wanted to look at that to see if we could make it more exciting again for the fans, to where there's opportunity, and then someone scores, so we've looked at that. A thing that really bothers me, is when pucks get batted out of the rink unintentionally versus for delay of game. So when, like last night, Gouda shoots the puck over the stands, right? And so those plays, when I was playing, there was goaltenders that would come out. Mike Liut was one of them. I'll never forget. He must have, whenever the pressure was on, he would come out, field the puck, and he'd blow it right out of the zone and get a face-off just to stop momentum. So that's one of the reasons they brought it in. Now, to me, they've gone to where now if puck's in the air and you're just trying to whack it out and it goes out of the stands, to me, I've never been that good at baseball and be able to to whack that puck out purposely. You're trying to just whack that puck so it goes out of the zone, out of harm's way. And so to knock it out, to me, is not a penalty, and that should be either that or discretionary towards the referee. Now, if he comes around and shoots it out, that's a different ball game.
All right, final question. And it's something that you've already mentioned. So the last 2 trade deadlines, the Ducks have been sellers. In your mind,
Well, last 3 really.
last 3. Thank you. Is the rebuild now complete? And I'll put you on the spot. Are you no longer a seller?
Well, I don't know what I don't like right now we're in a point. I'm going to call it we're in a transition phase. I don't say it's a rebuild. A rebuild's where you're just tearing down, and I feel we're at a place now to where we can take a step. We've got our good young players are already in place, and some more are arriving, like Cutter Gauthier, and there'll be a couple more next year young players that are going to step, like Luno will probably step into the lineup next year and be a full-time player. So there's another 20-year-old in the lineup. So we're taking steps, and now for me, I want to push to where these guys are now. We're pushing forward to get into a playoff race. That's going to be our goal, to be fighting for that right down the stretch. Now, I'm probably am I going to tweak? Can I see and make some tweaks to where I believe can help the team? Sure, I'm going to always look at those opportunities. Right. But from this standpoint, I want our young kids to start taking steps, gaining experience, learning how to win those 1-goal games. And so I see us, as far as contract-wise, not having those contracts to sell. We're going to be a team that everybody is here, and we're continued to push forward.
That is great news to hear. Pat, I want to thank you very much. My time here is done.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to turn this back over to JoJo. JoJo? Thank you, everybody.
Hey, how about check. Hey, oh, there we go. Another round of applause for Brian Hayward, Pat Verbeek, your GM.
I'm getting a tan today.
There we go. Pat thought he was able to take off just now. No, I have some follow-up questions myself. The true heavy hitters of questions that I'm about to put both on Pat Verbeek and our club president Aaron Tietz. All right, so. First of all, can we have a big round of applause for your retention team, our signature events team, put this all together. Ducks Migration, 2nd annual. You're all here. It's a beautiful day. Now, here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask a couple questions. Maybe we could raffle off some prizes too, yeah? Yeah, a little bit of both. Is that cool? So have your raffle tickets out. May do it at any point here, okay? So first off, gentlemen, there we go. First heavy hitter question. I see everyone enjoyed their lunch out here, Ducks Migration. Can you two answer to what would be your go-to meal going to a game? I don't know the last time you really just sat down in the seats to watch a game, wherever that is, but what's your go-to meal? What's your favorite stadium food?
I can take that, yeah. Chicken parm with spaghetti, meat sauce.
Who's selling chicken parm?
You got that at the game? Oh, prior to a game. You're going
to a game. You said I'm going to the game.
Well, I'm at the game.
Okay.
You're at the game, and you have a plate of chicken parm on your lap that you're just...
Well, either that or it's a power bar, one or the other. That's really exciting.
Okay, how about this? Obviously you're working hard all throughout the season, obviously through the off season too, getting ready for the next. But what is your ideal vacation spot when you finally have the time to get away for a few days, maybe a week or so? Favorite vacation spot?
You know what? My family recently has gone up to northern Idaho to the Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint area, and see, we got some fans there. To me, that is phenomenal. Right there, they have a fantastic lake up in Sandpoint, and just to relax. But I can't go to the Maldives where I have nothing going on because I go insane. So there's enough stuff where I can get on some water toys and have a little bit of fun and whatnot. But just have a great setting.
Where you go? For you, Pat?
What's a vacation?
Don't pretend.
Probably one of the best places I enjoyed was Italy. Going to Italy for about a week. So And my wife walked me to death when we went there. So anyway, but it was good.
Enjoying some chicken parm, I assume.
I was spent a little northern Italy, exposure. So it was a
He'll
little
have
different.
nachos there.
It was a little different.
Okay, how about this? If you, either of you have a superpower that you would choose, the one superpower that you would choose. Pat, what do you think? You'd choose one superpower. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to tell you mine
the
first.
laser eye, like the Superman laser eye, where I could do the referees?
No one posts that. No one posts that. We're not trying to get fined.
Don't put that out there, please.
Aaron?
I think I'd want to be invisible. I could go anywhere. You could go anywhere, be any spot, any place. So
You could have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. I could trip a referee. I could do whatever I want.
Now, speaking of superpowers, obviously, when you have superpowers and you're a superhero, you're not afraid of anything. So let's go ahead and go the opposite route. What is one phobia? What is one phobia that you truly have?
We were just talking about that balloon over there. I got a little fear of heights. I won't lie, but once I get comfortable with the height, I'm fine. But it's getting to that point. I get a little butterflies in my stomach, so to speak.
Yeah, I think we all do.
When I was a kid, I got stuck in an elevator. So high rises, gosh, it's going to come back to you. But I won't go in an elevator by myself. I'll wait till somebody else comes with me. So the door will open up, only if it's like 30 floors and above. The door will open up, and if there's no one getting in behind me, I just kind of cruise around for a little bit, and I wait for somebody else to come, and then I get in.
Okay, so after a long night, maybe on a game night or just a long day overall, what is the first thing that you're putting on TV at home? You're just kicking up the feet, maybe enjoying a drink, whatever, and grabbing some dinner. But what's the TV show or maybe that movie that you put on to kind of wind down after the day?
I usually watch NCIS.
Nice. Which one? Isn't there a bunch? Sorry, I'm not an NCIS guy.
The original
myself.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, the original one. I don't do LA. I watch that one, but
yeah, we don't do LA. We don't do LA. Period. Period.
It's a Freudian thing. If I want to relax, I'll look at something funny like The Office. I think that's hysterical.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll throw that on and enjoy that.
Yeah, you remember that one episode where Dwight no, I'm just kidding.
I probably do.
Sometimes I watch golf. That's the whisper of their voice, especially when I want to have a nap.
Yes.
They kind of talk real low, and it just kind of puts me in a coma.
Let's see. As a DJ myself, have to ask favorite music artists, dead or alive, all time. You might just hear it tomorrow based off what your answer is.
I'm a country guy, so Garth Brooks is my guy.
There you go.
Yeah,
Schmitty, you got note of that?
Yeah.
Garth Brooks.
Oh, I did?
Yeah,
That's
that's
still
mine
yours?
too. Yeah, Garth
You can
Brooks.
use Morgan Wallen or something like that if you want.
No, Garth Brooks is pretty good.
Wow.
There you go.
I didn't know we had that in common.
Well, what do you know?
Look at that.
Man, this is nice. This is so nice. Okay, here we go. So how about this? What is a talent, a hidden talent that most people don't know about, and now all of the Orange Alliance is now going to know, and you have to perform it right now. I'm just kidding.
There's no chance of that doing here. I like to shoot clay pigeons, so go to shoot. I like to do that.
Nice. You confidently usually hit it on our first try?
Probably 90% of the time.
There you go. 90%. Solid.
Oh, man, that is hard. I can whistle very loud, which in New York, when I'm trying to get a cab, I have no problem.
Nice.
I can whistle, and 3 cabs will go.
I have no talent in that.
Yeah.
None.
So
Zero.
So it's kind of sad.
That's actually a really cool
best.
talent.
Yeah,
Can we hear it, Aaron?
I need both my hands.
Oh. Does he need to stand up? Oh. Okay, yeah.
That always worked good for calling my kids in
Yeah.
at night as well. I could just go out the front door, fire that out about 2 times in about 5 minutes.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
coming
No,
back. So,
I felt that. Okay, last
I was out
question.
of practice there, by the way. I haven't done that in years. So,
Hey,
so
that was
that's good.
solid. I think a cab is on its way here right
Yeah,
now.
that's good.
Okay, last question. Besides the sport of hockey, what is your favorite sport besides hockey?
Mine is golf. I could play golf or watch golf all day. So
Nice.
Yeah, I like watching golf a lot, especially on
that's
Sunday
because you
afternoon.
get a nap. You don't like
yeah,
watching it at all.
I do. Yeah, no, I do. I like watching golf a lot. I just have a really unreal appreciation for how good those guys are. You know, I play golf, but I'm not that good at it. But but those guys are unreal. So I mean, I like playing baseball too. I liked watching baseball. I've gotten into soccer more.
Nice.
All my girls played soccer, so I've gotten to enjoy that. I would like to see more goals in soccer. If they could do that.
Well, hey, the heavy hitter questions, folks. Another round of applause. Aaron Teacher, Club President, GM Pat Verbeek. Thank you, gentlemen.